No. To receive apologies for absence. We've got 5 apologies for tonight. Liz O'Brien.
Don't be here.
No, sorry. Wrong page, sorry.
No. We'll not get to it.
No, I don't think so.
Stonebridge, Councillor Stonebridge, Councillor St John, Councillor Dalton, Councillor Beck and Stephen Baker. Okay, there's 5. Would you accept those apologies, please?
Yep.
Right.
What's their excuses, Mr. Chairman?
No idea.
No, it's not.
Just hang on.
Just hang on. You can't, listen, Chair, you can't make a statement. When somebody asks you what's the excuses, you can't say no idea because they're written down in the... I'm not saying you've got to say them. I'm not saying you've got to read them out.
I don't view them as being excuses.
What I'm saying
the reasons, and we're not obliged to divulge that. They have just asked us to...
Just let me clarify what I was saying. Let me clarify what I was saying. Right. Let me clarify what I was going to say was, I don't expect, I'm going to carry on, John, until...
Disclose members' personal interest in any item to discuss. Right, what's your point of order, Stuart?
Right, my point of order is to make an explanation of a previous comment. The point I'm making is, I don't expect you to read out where everybody is tonight, because there's some discussions whether we should or not. The point I'm making is, a member of the public asked where they were, and you said you don't know. Well, you've just had the book in your hand, you've read the book, and the reasons for not being here tonight are in the book. I'm not bothered about reading it out. You cannot tell people you don't know when you've read the book. That's the point I'm making.
I've read the book. They've just given their apologies. I don't have to say where they are. I don't know where they are. They're just given excuses, as you call it, excuses. I think it's reasons.
Just a minute. I just want to say that Councillor Dalton is actually ill. Can I? No, it doesn't actually.
No.
Councillor Dalton is ill.
Yeah, I know she is.
Okay. She is.
Yeah. If you were as ill, you wouldn't be sitting here tonight. 3, to identify the items for which the press and public may be excluded. To discuss. I've asked all that. Nobody's got any. Identify items which the press may be excluded. But none at this stage.
Did you ask for number 2?
Yes, I did. But you're all too busy shouting, you never answered. Question number 4. To confirm the minutes of the meeting of the Parish Council meeting held on Monday the 2nd of February. There's only 2 pages. Page 1. Page 2.
Right, just these for the 2nd of February.
2nd of February.
Right, these minutes. We've had some discussions, shall we say, over these minutes. It was quite clear, and I've gone back and I've looked at the film that was filmed here at the last meeting. On page 1, it says that we were going to discuss some issues and questions to be put to Councillor Dalton, and the councillors present agreed that this particular item would come back to this meeting. Now, it's been said that it didn't, but I've watched the film and it quite clearly says that the item that is not on here should have been brought back.
Well, I've looked at the film. Yeah, I've looked at the film as well. And there was so much said about this, Clive brought it up twice or 3 times, that we must take, well, it was a long time, about, at the last meeting, about getting information from YLTA. You mentioned it at least 3 times at the last meeting, and the clerk said he would find out. And so it was said at the meeting, from as far as I'm concerned, that until we got that answer, it wouldn't do much good.
Let me quote what you said, John. Let me quote what you said, John.
And if I might continue, I did look at the film, and the film was not what our official one, and there were quite a number of parts that there was over-speaking by some members of the public, which meant I couldn't hear what was being said all the time.
Let me quote what you said, John. Also, I'll paraphrase what you said, but it's quite clear on the film, if you want to. I think it's at minute 15 to about 17.
Yeah.
And you turned to Clive, and you said, do you want this on the next meeting, Clive? He said yes. He says, and do you want it up near the top? And he said yes.
Yeah.
It was after that the question was raised about going to Yelk.
Yeah.
So if you've seen the film, then you know I'm right.
Well, I thought those two were both put together, and that's why I agreed with the clerk. And we couldn't put it back on again anyway, because it wasn't 5 days' notice.
You
It's
can't,
already
you,
gone out.
you can't agree with something that's on film to prove
Right.
it wrong.
An amateur film, yeah. Right, can I... You've got to approve them now?
Well, the only people that can prove them are Councillor Jarvis, Councillor Dalton, myself, and you.
I'm not approving them.
So we're only five.
But the council votes anyway, so whether you're here or not, you're still allowed to vote. Might make that clear. So is somebody going to approve these? No? Yes.
I mean, as far as I was concerned, for me it is accurate, and the reason it is accurate is because the only motion on the table was Councillor Jepson saying that he wants to go to the YLCA. There was discussion on the other side, with the council about putting it on the next agenda. The chairman agreed that it would go on the next agenda. But Councillor Jepson never asked for an amendment, or nobody asked for an amendment to Councillor Jepson's motion. And so therefore, the only motion on the table, after a 5-minute discussion about letters, etc., was the motion really put about the YLCA. So that's why it was reported the way it is.
Right, can I have a proposal that these minutes are correct? Right, one proposal. Anybody second them? On the opinions that you've heard? Well, if there's no second, we can't sign them, can we? Yeah, yes, well, proposal seconded.
Can I just come in? Well, I find it quite amazing that two people, one's proposed it and one's seconded it, and neither of the two people were at that meeting. So I would ask the question, Alice, how can you approve something that you wasn't a party to?
Well, still, it's probably
He wasn't here, so there's a conflict of interest between what we say and what the clerk says. So how do you know who's true?
I'm quite sure that the clerk has recounted it. I would expect the clerk, because of his official position, to recount what happened precisely.
So you don't believe the three people that was here?
I believe that the clerk is more used to recounting specific issues for minutes.
Right, we're going to propose it in a second then. All those in favour of accepting...
Can I have a recorded vote, please, Chair?
You can have a recorded vote if you wish.
Doesn't matter if you don't get signed, does it?
Oh, thought somebody was having a joke. Somebody having a joke? Yes.
Councillor Brinkley?
Councillor Brinkley? You vote, please.
For, to accept them.
Councillor Burton?
For.
Councillor Crowther?
Abstain.
Councillor Ireland?
Yes.
Councillor Jarvis?
Against?
Councillor Jepson? Again. Councillor O'Brien?
For.
I'm against it, and I'll still say, how can people vote for something they didn't against?
5 to 3. Right, thank you.
And not one of the five was here? So I do apologise.
Which was the...
The only person who did right was you.
Right, Bill. Right, to receive the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting on the 19th and the 4th, which we approved tonight. Can we receive those, please? We've already passed them in the previous meeting.
Yeah, I'll approve those, John.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we've made an amendment.
All those in favour? Receive. Thank you. Consider planning matters. List 3, item 0011, alterations and extensions to the tropical butterfly house. All in favour of that? Go ahead.
Suppose we accept that.
It's not an objection, Chair.
No.
It's just the fact that I presume all the work is inside the grounds.
Yes, it is.
So, there's no
Yes, sir.
council planners in that.
Right, as it's just been said, all the work's inside. I've no objection to the actual work that's proposed, but there is one thing that does concern me. The butterfly house is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every year. That's good for the local economy, that's good for local people's jobs. What concerns me is the amount of vehicles that are starting to attend. Now, last year, if my figures are right, they said they had 125,000 visitors.
Yeah.
Now, if we just half that, that's 50, 60, 70,000, my maths is not brilliant, 70,000 car journeys.
Yeah.
Now, them car journeys have either got to come up through Woodsets,
Yeah.
or they've got to come up Brighton Road,
Yeah.
possibly Dinnington. So my concern is that the roads along Woodsets Road, it's not an ideal road for that amount of traffic, because that's a slightly different issue to the application. It's something I'm going to try and bring back to the council, because I think we should get on to the traffic people
Yeah.
to possibly do a survey in order to see if we can get some improvements to that road.
Can I just add a bit on that, John? I was at a Woodsets Parish Council meeting the other week. They're concerned like we are about the condition of Woodsets Road.
Yeah.
There's no work going to be done on there in the foreseeable future. Might be 16, 17 if there's anything done. They're only going to look at doing it in parts rather than the whole. And like Councillor Thornton said, it is going to be a problem, because while nobody wants to stop the butterfly house being successful, and hopefully it helps the local economy, I think we need our MBC to be on board.
Yes.
It's all right, it's all good and well having all that traffic going on there, but that road is a disaster.
But you don't,
And it must be one of the worst roads for people claiming against the Borough Council for condition of cars when they hit the potholes. So I think it's not the butterfly farm's fault. They're being successful and good luck to them. But I say it's the Borough Council's fault that we don't get that road improved and the rest of the roads through the village, because all the traffic to that point, unfortunately, comes either Lakeland Drive, Woodsets Road, Brighton Road, and all the roads in the area that are falling to pieces. So I think we should try again to see if we can get something done on that stretch of the road. Not an
I
objective.
don't think we should fool ourselves by the figures, because don't forget, this is over 363 days a year, and you don't get how many thousands to it? You don't get them on the same day.
Well, they said about 125,000 visitors.
Yeah, visitors.
Yeah.
Well, divided by 363, and with your maximum you get.
Plus coaches,
Pardon?
More and more coaches.
And coaches.
You can't walk on there, it's not safe.
So if you get one coach, that's probably 55 visitors. And I'm just saying, don't let's get mixed up by figures of people going up there, because when I've ever been up there on weekends, there's never more than 200, 250 cars. Because there aren't car park spaces. I've been on a bank holiday. I've been on a bank holiday. Right.
So, can I just make one more point here? Again, it's not a reflection on the butterfly farm, but the amount of litter that goes on that stretch of road there, they've been in contact with myself and I think Councillor Burton about the litter on Woodsets Road that they constantly have to pick up, which is unfair on them. People just feed the cycle on there or chuck it along there. There's no money to cover the rural network.
They're exactly the same as A57.
Again, it's an issue that we need to take up with the Borough Council, I think, to try and improve that.
Right, list number 6, the extension 46 Windsor Walk, Southampton. Neighbours? Right. Plus any further plans? Right. To receive notification of extension at North Anston Industrial Estate granted conditionally. To receive notification that the new dwelling on Wrighton Road was withdrawn. And to receive notification that the right to speak regarding the 9 dwellings at the Costa Workshop. So it's in here, if everybody wants to go and say anything, they're quite entitled to. This is one where we objected as a council because of the number of vehicles on the A57. It was too dangerous to get a road safety issue.
Can I just come in again on this one? Another traffic issue. I personally haven't got a problem with the actual houses. We've got a traffic issue around there. For those that are not aware, there's preliminary plans in to build a possible industrial estate at the new Todrick roundabout. And there's also plans in place to build another industrial estate down at Fox Covert, down by the scrapyard. Now, RMBC have objected to the one in Nottinghamshire, on the Nottinghamshire border, on the grounds that it would affect the crossroads at Southampton. Now, when we was talking about this before, there's been no mention from RMBC whatsoever about any issues to traffic at Southampton. So, if I get my paperwork in time, I'm going to speak on that particular issue about the traffic. We have a...
Are you going to...
I hope to get there if I'm able. The thing is, we've got the crossroads themselves. We have a busy petrol station in and out. Cars turning out the petrol station, trying to turn back to Sheffield. So there's 2 petrol stations. That junction is becoming more and more crowded. If, as they're proposing, it gets more housing again on the site behind the petrol station, the traffic's going to get worse. I think RMBC need to give us some indication what they are saying the problem is at Southampton. They can't object to an industrial site on the border when they're going to put one at the other side.
I think there's another objection. Actually, the cause, Stuart, is not just these things. It's all because, the majority of it's because of the works at bypass. The heavy goods vehicles couldn't get round to top of Potter Street and Brook Street. That was it. It was 90-degree bend. They couldn't do it. They had to go up the A1 as far as the Bolton Shoe to go to Leeds, or then the M18 to go on the M18. Up the workshop bypass, everything comes to Anston. That's basically our problem with the workshop bypass.
Sell a zone.
Hey?
We need a zone. Can I just make a comment on that one about the extension ENC, Chair? It was granted conditionally, but there's a condition in it about discharging the surface water from that yard, and I'm going to contact Environment Agency and West speak to Mike about it, just to let them know, because they might be interested to follow it up and see where actually that water does go into, because if it goes into one of the water courses that runs into the Rhine or the brook, it would be good if we knew actually what was, if it's just surface water, if it's something else that's finding its way into there.
Especially now that we're getting fish back.
So it may be something we bring up at the Stoneswood meeting and contact the Environment Agency about it. Yes, I'll put it on the agenda. Thank you.
Right, we'll move on to item number 8. Councillor Jepson to request by Councillor Jepson that members not present at the meeting on the 17th of November state their position with regard to a resolution passed in relation to local plan consultation. Well, there's only one here that wasn't at that meeting, that's Liz.
Yeah.
So would you like to answer that, Liz?
No, I don't mind telling you. As far as the gypsy site, travellers site, is concerned, I object to that on the grounds of I don't safe, because I don't think it's right to have it near a railway line and a canal. And you know how we argued for more parking at Kiverton Park. And
yes, at the transport.
And I don't, I think there are other uses that would be better used for us. So I object to that one. Plaxton site needs to be developed. Make my whole place look a lot better. So I agree with what people have said there. Pennypiece Lane, I think that road's terribly narrow. So I would object to that.
The part of it's in the green belt, but it's the road, access road around there. That's going to be a problem.
And the other one is I think we should have a big gap between one village and another for wildlife and wildlife corridors, things like that. So I think that's kind of the end of the wedge that we're going to be joined up. So I object to that one. So is that it?
No, that's fine, thank you.
And this is a personal thing, but as you approach Anston from the motorway, it's lovely, and you'd lose that, wouldn't you?
Thank you. No, that's fine. It's just to make sure everybody's.
Right, to discuss recommendation by Councillor Jepson regarding his meeting with Friends of Anston Burial Ground. 5.
I think they've all gone. Mrs. Williams and Mr. Thompson have got. There are some items on there that I need to bring back to discuss with them, and I think one of the items was the notice board. I think we need to look at that as part of the overall
Will you take it back then?
Yeah, the notice boards we've got in the village, because they're dropping to pieces as well, so I think it's something that we need to look at as a whole rather than one of that. So I mean, I would like somebody to at the next meeting from either Mrs. Williams or Mr. Thompson, and we'll get round to that eventually.
Right, to consider the statutory declarations of read number 8, the green, ahead of drawing up a draft deed. I don't take any comments about that.
Right, can I come in?
You can.
Right. The council has got a piece of paper in front of them, which is C83, which is that one. We can discuss this in open session, because we discussed it at the last meeting in open session. I don't believe that number 8, the green, has made a satisfactory case for saying they have a right of way over the green. Just by signing a document and then referring to a judgment on another property, I don't believe justifies it. But in saying that, I'm quite clear that if number 8 was to go to court, I'm quite sure a judgment would see in their favour and possibly grant them, as I can't say what the judgment says, possibly grant them a right of way. The problem we have is the parish council hasn't got, as far as I'm aware, a legal right to grant a right of way to anyone across the green. Therefore, we cannot grant a right of way. I don't believe, as I said before, I don't believe that they have made a satisfactory case. There's never been, on record, there's never been no access to number 8, even from the previous owners. One solution I think we can do is we can't grant them a right of way, yet because they're continuing to go forwards and backwards across the green, in effect they're committing to the real act. So I would suggest what they have to do is, and I don't know if we can do this, this is what the reason I wrote this draft, or this letter as it were, to go back to the solicitors, to see if we can ask them, by their solicitors, to go to court, to, I don't know how it works. The one thing I'm mindful of is, the last time we went to court on this, it cost the council about £100,000. We've got to solve the problem, and the only way I can see we can solve the problem is they would have to go to court for a right of way, and I would argue that we shouldn't contest it, because we could then end up in a legal case.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the letter's quite explanatory, so all I'm asking is that the clerk possibly go back to the solicitors with what I've written and see what comes back. If it may be the case we can't do nothing like I've suggested.
Can I take your comments? You want to send it?
Well, I'll propose I'm quite happy for the clerk to contact the solicitors, not necessarily this, with what the gist of the case. But I think, for another council a long time ago, we're in a kind of stick, because we can't grant a right of way. Just because they say they've got a right of way, I don't believe it proves in the law. Therefore, we're storing the problem for another 10 years.
They should present it to them.
They have to prove they have a right of way, and I think the only way they can do that is by going to court. But if they take the council to court, and we contest that, it'll cost thousands. But if we don't contest it, the judge will think that the judge may be able to make a judgment there and then. But what I want to do is I want to see if we can run it past the solicitors to make sure doing it that way is not going to cost us anything.
I don't see what. Put me right if I'm wrong. This is a statutory declaration by him, not by us.
No, the declarations are by the people who live at number 8.
Right, so what's it got to do with us, really?
Right, what the people at number 8 are saying, by signing a declaration, they're saying they have a right of way, and they've had a right of way for a number of years. What I'm saying is that just because they've signed a declaration doesn't prove they have a right of way in law. I mean, I could sign a piece of paper and say I've got right of way. It doesn't prove I've got the right of way. Well, we're stuck because we can't grant the right of way. So somehow the problem has got to be solved. And the only way I can think of solving it is they would have to go to a judge.
Can't we just say, you're making this declaration, go ahead with it?
Right.
We're not suffering, are we?
No, but what we're doing in effect again, this is where we become stuck. Because if we just accept the status quo, we accept their declaration, we accept the status quo and allow them to pass and repass, what we're doing is we're allowing them to commit an act, I don't know if it's a criminal or civil act, because they're passing and repassing illegally. They have to prove, and again, I'm not an expert on this, I just want to sit my thoughts out. They have to prove they've got a right to way, and I think the only way they can do that is in court.
So why is it on? If this is not going to do any effect, not going to have any effect, we don't have to sign anything.
No, right.
We don't have to sign this at all. This is a declaration by this number 8.
Yeah, but they haven't solved the problem.
No, but we're not committing ourselves to anything.
No, but what we're doing is we're allowing number 8 to pass and repass, possibly illegally. And if we're guardians of the green, we can't do that. I'm not saying they can't have the right way, because, like I said, I think anybody would give them the right way to call, because the access over the years. But I'm trying to tie up how we do it legally. We haven't got the power to grant them anything. And just by putting a statement on doesn't change the law. No, this is why I think that we should say nothing and let them get on with it. Well, you can't, because if you don't say nothing, that means we can't grant them a right to it. Don't say nothing, it means they're passing and repassing illegally.
But that's not our business.
We're guardians of the green, and we have the right to protect the green. So, in effect, we can't do it as a council. That's what I'm saying, we're stuck, because we can't do one thing, we can't do another.
Joe?
I mean, I don't know where we would be legally with this either, but is there anything about the law of precedence that comes into this?
Well, can I answer that? It's quite possible, because there was a judgment made for number 10.
We make one for
I've declared a personal interest in this actually, because obviously I know the person is number 10. But it's quite possible, I'm certain the judge goes to court and say number 10 has been done at number 10, number 8 can have it. But the problem is, we can't grant that. Only the judge can grant them the right of way. So I'll make a proposal.
Yes.
Right, I propose that we send this letter to our solicitors to have a look at, plus any comments that Michael wants to put, or anything that Michael might think is useful, and see what comes back.
Anybody second that? All those in favour?
Yeah.
I think if we don't go that route, we're going to end up having a massive problem with it.
As you said. Right, that's that one passed then. Councillor Jarvis, to discuss CSE and Rotherham Council. What do you want to say?
The people, a lot of them it concerns aren't here today.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go on because I've been waiting for this for 5.5 months.
Yeah.
Now, in 1760s, in Parliament, Edmund Burke said, "For evil to prevail, good men stand by and do nothing." Well, I believe some of our councillors, a quarter of our councillors, have done exactly that. These poor girls recruited for sex, prostitution and beatings, and even worse, as has previously been heard. One was raped with a broken bottle, nearly died. Another one did die. She was murdered and dumped into the canal. Laura Wilson, that's right. And all these 4 people have had were at the 2012 seminar and knew all about it. Parliament's debated it 4 times, at least 4 times in this time, from 1997 to the present day. So 650 people up and down this country knew all about it. And the 4 people in question for me are Robin Stonebridge, Julia Dalton, Joe Burton and Ian St John. Some of those have been pronounced not fit for purpose. In fact, one of them has been, the Labour Party's stood her down. Judy Dalton was a senior advisor to Paul Lakin.
Stood down, she's resigned.
Sorry?
She's resigned. She's not been stood.
Just a moment. she's a governor at a school now, and is, I believe, setting up a business with regard to profiting on this in this situation. Jo Burton was deputy to Sean Wright. She was a part of the risky business thing. She may well have been a key holder to that office where the papers were missing. It was risky for those children, but didn't seem to be any business of the people involved.
Gordon, can I just interject a minute? I think the saddest part of this is that there've only been 6 prosecutions and there's 1,400 girls. It's got to be more than 6. They can't tackle 600 times each.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying there's any less and any more.
There's been a failure down the line somewhere.
Yes.
You've got to start with police.
That's
as well.
right. Yes.
I'm not arguing there. Already answered Mr. Lewis that we believe any perpetrators of any wrongdoing should be prosecuted.
Right.
And it's up to the authority now to get on with it. They've been told by Houses of Parliament because they've even installed 6 people in Rotherham Borough. So I don't really think there's no we here as a parish council can do about it.
Oh, yes, there is. I think there is, and that's what I'm getting at, Chair. Right.
Go on, carry on.
Can I?
The fourth one, Ian St John, was mayor during some of this period, so he knew all about it. Now.
So go on. Are you putting forward a motion?
Yes, I am. I'm putting forward a motion. I propose that these 4 councillors and another one that's been told unfit for purpose, and that Councillor Beck, that they should review their position on this council.
Is there a second for that?
I'll second that.
You seconded for that? Right, you.
I'm quite interested in this.
We've got a proposal and a seconder, so the motion's on in front of the House now.
Okay.
So we've got 3 minutes.
Okay, I'm quite interested in this because I noticed that you have named some councillors, including myself, but you haven't named Councillor Jepson.
No.
Is that because Councillor Beck and Councillor Dalton and Councillor Jepson were all in office after 2010? Okay, so I think that's quite significant.
Well, the significance of it is that the 4 that I've mentioned had positions able to do something about it in that council, in the Rotherham Council.
There were a variety of people who were in positions, if you like, but if I can go back to the seminar that people talk about. As I said before, I actually wasn't at that seminar, but I know lots of councillors who were of all.
Come on, folks. Come on, be fair. You're supposed to listen. Yeah, and
is that all councillors?
Joe, can you continue?
Thank you. Thank you. If I can say that when the J report came out, now we'll repeat, we were all very shocked to read that. Okay. Now, if I received a report on child sexual exploitation, I asked questions about it, and I did do that. Yes, I got some answers, but by and large, and this strikes me as being very interesting, and I think it is something that I hope is going to be pursued. By and large, we were always told that the police have an operation ongoing. You can either believe that or not.
Okay, Joe.
Yes,
okay.
And there are many people who are saying, and I am one of them, that, you cannot challenge, if the police are involved in something and say they are taking action, I would be quite interested to know what people felt my response should have been to that, and I would actually welcome that. All right? Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I am told.
Joe, this is not the discussion group. It's not the discussion group. Thank you very much. Stuart, let's look at this say. We've got 3 minutes each.
Right, well, what I think is quite sad about this whole issue is, first of all, it's the kids that were involved, but the second thing I think sad on a different level is that all we ever hear from RMBC councillors from day one is denial and deflection.
No, that's
Just
not true.
excuse me, I didn't interrupt you deliberately. Right, the reports are quite clear. Not one report, 2 reports are quite clear, and it condemns anybody who's got history on RMBC. Now let me just go through some names. Robin Stonebridge was an RMBC councillor throughout the whole period of the reports, the J report. Councillor St John, he was the mayor, as you said. I don't know if he had a cabinet post, but I think he did at the time. But he was also on one of the child safeguarding committees. Judy Dalton, I'll come back to Judy Dalton. You yourself was on the children's committees as a senior advisor, is that true?
That's true.
Right. At a meeting at Rotherham, the question was asked, did senior advisors get the same paperwork as the chairman? The answer was yes, and that was from Paul Lakin, who stood down because he had to go. Let's go back to Councillor Dalton. The reason why she's not standing next year, or it's our belief she's not, because she's twittered it, is because she's been deselected. And the reason she's been deselected, well, you can shake your head, this is what other people think, we're all entitled to different opinions, is because she was savaged in the Casey report. Now, you've already denied this, just put your hand down, I didn't interrupt you, right? In the Casey report, they said the CSE is continuing and anything to do with the taxes wasn't robust and any programmes would take 5 years in. She was criticised in the Casey report, definitely. Let's go back to Clive. Let's go back to Clive, because this let's go back to Clive. Clive was on no committee at all to do with children. And I think it was 2011. So this is just another deflection onto other councillors to take the blame away. Shame on you, and you should go.
No, nothing to say. You're only allowed to speak once, I'm afraid. You haven't had a word, Joyce, yet? No. Anybody else want to speak?
I would like to say I'm as appalled as anybody about this child sexual exploitation. I'm a granny and I'm a great granny, and the thought that somebody could hurt any of my youngsters would, I'd swing for them, basically. But I think it's very wrong to talk about councillors who cannot defend themselves when they're not here tonight.
John, I'm sorry, I'm going to say this because the Casey report describes Paul Lakin, who was the newly elected leader in September, as dedicated, committed and decent. I have to say that. She did. And Judy Dalton was not slated. The taxi service prior to Judy taking over was slated, but Judy was not slated, and Judy has not been deselected. Okay?
By the way, right. I want my 2 minutes. Right, now, yes. I think it's a sad reflection on the whole shebang of them when they're not pursuing the ones that did the bloody fiddling with the kids. It's a disgrace that there's there must be dozens of people walking around who are just guilty. This went on for 12 years. More. 16 years. And you don't mean to tell me that only 6 could be found guilty. There's been more kiddies fiddled with in Rotherham than a little. And they're the people that want to bring it to the book as an urgent thing. And I would expect the police to start getting their act together and getting these people and putting them in front of the magistrate and getting them sent down. Right, can you shut up your... Go on.
Yes,
go
okay.
on. You've got your last summing up, please. Go
I've forgotten what we're going to say.
Well,
I'm
well,
sorry.
you know,
I've forgotten what I was going to say. I've proposed that
you
we,
propose
as a
it, so we'll
council...
take a vote on it.
Yes.
Read the motion again.
This council...
Stonebridge,
All right.
Bolton, St John, Burton and Beck should review their position on this council. That was the motion.
That's the motion. That's
Can I
the
recorded vote, please, Chair?
Yes. Right.
Councillor Bridges.
Again.
Councillor Brindley. Councillor Burton.
Again.
Councillor Crowther.
Abstain.
Councillor Dole. Councillor Ireland.
I'm to abstain.
Councillor Jarvis.
False.
Councillor Jackson.
Same.
Councillor O'Brien.
Again.
Councillor...
Look, this is not something serious, this is not something to laugh about. Have a bit of dignity.
I was a foster carer at that time. I was a foster carer at that time. I was doing my best to I had
argue with the
a lot of support.
2, 4,
Well,
3
you
again.
know, I've broken my
That's right.
rules that I set myself in.
Yeah. Next one. To consider reinstating Council Thornton to the Finance and General Purposes Committee. Next yours, Clive.
Can I just declare a personal interest in this? I tried to do beginning of the meeting, but you talked over me.
I know it's down under yourself, but
All right,
I mean...
yeah, doesn't mean say I support it, does it?
No, where are we?
You ask it for it to be put on?
Item
Yes,
5.
I asked, yeah. It's really to try and resolve the issues that we've got regarding the finance committee meetings. Councillor Dalton was taken off the committee last year. I can't remember the contents of the email to you, John, but we basically did pass every finance meeting, as Councillor Crowther knows, because he tries to chair them. And it was really to try and get all the agenda items we've got until the end of the year sorted out, because if we do as we've been doing, I for one, losing exactly where we are on some of these issues, and I'm sure there are some that need sorting out before the end of April. In fact, I think we've got a finance meeting on the day before the elections, I think, on the 6th of May, I think there is. But it's really to try and get this issue resolved. I mean, Councillor Thornton's argued his case for those tonight, and we've worked around that. It's just really, at the end of the day, I suggested that if he's reinstated on the committee, then you've got the power at the end of the day to kick people out of the meeting, and I would expect that the chairman's commission to be obeyed.
Are you seconding this, John?
Yes, I'll second it.
That's how seconded by John. Anybody got anything to say?
Yeah, I mean, the problem I have with it is that obviously a vote was taken to exclude Stuart from those meetings. Now, what Stuart does is he arrives at the meeting, sits at the table and won't leave, which stops us having the meetings. And this is not really a democratic way of solving the situation, because if you don't agree with the decision...
You agree with that to suspend it.
So, you know, that's my view on it. It's not really the right way forward, because it's somebody that can just dictate to us and stop us having the meetings. And I don't think that's the answer to it. All right, that's my view.
I mean, I'd welcome anybody else making a suggestion, because that's what I put in the email to you. Has anybody else any suggestions? Because nobody seems to be working at it, really. And if we go back to not stop trying to resolve it, the only people who can solve it are the ones that voted.
My difficulty is, Clive, I agree, because what's going to happen is that what will happen is, if we don't vote Stuart back on, then he'll come and he'll stop us having the meeting, so we're not going to get anywhere. And it's a total no-win situation, because, you know, to actually vote and say yes, come back on, when a democratic vote was taken and he was excluded, is not...
We've taken a democratic vote.
Can I make it clear that Stuart was not...
Well, it's recorded down.
All you want is a Labour council, you don't want any of this.
Are we recording this as well? Is all this recorded? So I might make a comment here that Stuart was never kicked off the Finance Committee. He was never elected onto it in the first place. That was it. and that was May last year, in the May meeting. He was not elected to go onto the committee, which is an annual thing. It was never kicked off, it was never put on.
But if it's never been kicked off, John, why does something come up under the Charlie system?
It was never put on. It was never on a part of the committee. Never put on. You've got to be elected to the committee.
It wasn't until it was inconvenient for them.
Anyway, anybody else around the table here got a comment? Joe?
Yes, I just wanted to say though, I think there's an issue here, isn't there, about, we've been talking about who's a fit and proper person to be a councillor. Are we still waiting for a hearing with the Standards Board for when Councillor Thornton slapped a member of the public, a 72-year-old member of the public? I believe we are, aren't we? And maybe when that's resolved, we can make a decision. I'm saying when that matter is resolved, then maybe we can make a decision.
Okay, Joyce. Right, very interesting. Yeah, you have it.
I have a chance to speak, and I've sat and let everybody else speak, so now I'm going to put my version of events. Right, my version of events are this. 2 years ago, the now discredited councillor, RMBC councillor and parish councillor Beck, made false allegations against me in this council, and it was backed up by all the Labour members. They all agreed that there was false allegations. That banned me for 1 year. Councillor Stonebridge banned me for 1 year. A councillor who's hardly turned up for any meeting whatsoever since. The second year, and this is the one that the chairman refers to, is immediately the committees came up. Councillor Beck yet again jumped straight in and said we'll keep the committees as they are. It was immediately seconded by Councillor Dalton, and therefore I was shoved off the committees again. It was a vindictive move, and I believe the people sat round here, the Labour members, all voted for it. They knew what they were voting for, and they knew why they were doing it. It was vindictive. Now, just let me finish, I haven't finished yet. My point is this. On the meetings, the finance meetings, where there's been purely finance issues, I've not sat at the table. I only sit at the table when there's items of a general nature, parish council nature. I was elected by the people to represent them, and I will sit here and represent those that elected me. I've told the chairman how to solve it, I've told the finance chairman how to solve it, and it's simple. Stop putting items of the general nature on the finance committee. Now, but we've got a bigger problem here, because it's not only the finance committee I was wrongly evicted from, I was also evicted from the Stoneswood Advisory Group. That was because I was asking awkward questions. And I was also evicted off the staffing meeting, because again, I was asking awkward questions that Councillor Dalton didn't like to answer. So tonight...
Who are you talking to now?
I'm talking to you, I'm explaining my point, just like you've allowed everybody else to have their say around here. So why is it every time I speak you want to stop me?
Because the rules say 3 minutes.
Right, you didn't tell this lot they had 3 minutes.
Right. How many times have I said it? Right.
I'm going to make an amendment to the proposal. And the amendment is that I be allowed back on the Finance Committee, the Staffing Committee and the Stoneswood Advisory Group.
Right, is there a second to that?
Of course they're not going to know because they're all Labour.
Look, stop insulting me, will you?
There's a seconder here.
Who's seconding that? don't
and we'll have a recorded vote, please.
Recorded vote. This is for the amendment first.
He works harder than a skateboard commission for a year. Nobody else wants to
Can I just make a point, Chair, while Mark is doing that? I think we've got to try and do something and look at an option. If this one's not going to get through, then we've got to do something, because otherwise we've got 3 more finance meetings, which could snowball. We're not going to get anywhere. So I'd say I've put this on the table purely to try and get people talking about all the other options. We don't seem to have any, so I don't know where we go from there. I'm just trying to...
The only other possible option, Clive, is to try and move items off the agenda.
Again.
Councillor Brindley. Councillor Burton. Councillor Crowther.
Against.
Councillor Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Jepson. Councillor O'Brien.
Against.
Councillor Thornton.
I'm for it, obviously.
Councillor Ireland.
And abstaining.
There's 3 for and 5 against.
So that's negates the amendments failed. So now we revert back to the original one, which is just to put him back on the finances and purpose.
I will have another recorded vote, please, Chair.
Recorded as well.
Councillor Bridges.
Again.
Councillor Brindley.
Again.
Councillor Burton.
Yeah.
Councillor Crowley.
Against.
Councillor Jarvis.
For.
Councillor Jepson. Councillor O'Brien.
Against.
Councillor Dawson.
Obviously for.
Councillor Ireland.
And abstaining.
Let me tell you this, I haven't done this without taking advice, and I assure you, every time there is an item of general parish council business on the finance meeting, I will sit at this table. And I've done that, and I've taken it on advice.
Okay.
And if you want to go to the monitoring officer, please feel free, because I know you've already done it.
Right, we'll move on.
How dare you go to hell when your councillors don't even...
Can we not
If
even
you
look
leave
at
it off.
altering the agendas?
Yes,
So
of course
we
we
can
can
get-
look at that.
it's not beyond the way of my fuel to push something forward, because this is serving nobody any good.
Well, we can do
It's all
that. We can look at
people in the
that.
parish, so we've got to look at that as a serious option, not just dismiss it.
Not doing
because
no good, but...
it's been these agendas well, you know my views on how they've been
It's not
altered.
doing this village any good, and the people who could have changed that issue tonight, all of them have been vindictive and not done it, and all of them are Labour Party members, all Labour Party members.
Right, to consider approving the installation of the grinder on the skate park. You've got
John, can I propose we approve that?
Yeah.
Can I just, before we go to a vote, can I just ask, because I've no objections at all, why is it on the council meeting when it's a charity issue?
We look after the skate park equipment.
No, we don't. No.
Yes, we do.
Right.
It's on charity land, but we look after the equipment.
I was asked to put it on this. I put it on the charity agenda. I was told to put it on the
It has to be
council.
approved by the charity as well. Yes is the answer.
Is it approved by charity as well? No, but this is a council meeting. Does the council approve it?
Just ask a question. Does it also have to be approved by the charity?
I suppose so. I don't really know.
We don't know. But you're chairman of both the charity and the council, so you should know.
No.
Can I just say, I was asked to put this on the agenda by Mrs. Warlad a few 3 or 4 weeks since. I think the senior administrator set out in the covering email about what needs to be provided by the contractor who's willing to supply this. I think it's free of charge that he's going to install it and supply it. Am I right, Sandra? So what he'll have, I mean, I don't know the name of the gentleman. I think it's something to do with does he have something to do with Skate Park Committee?
He does, yeah.
So it's really a question of getting his name and asking him to supply the proper information so it can be approved by either Michael or Siobhan or whoever does the risk assessments. Just check them and then really take it from there as far as I'm concerned. I don't know whether anybody else has got any comments to make on there.
Well, if we're going to approve it, there's no reason why we can't ask the charity to approve it as well.
There's no reason at all, though.
Right.
We can put it on the agenda, easy.
All right, can I make a proposal?
I've already made one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know there was a proposal.
That we get on with it
Right.
and do it.
Can
And Joyce seconded it.
Right, can I make an addition rather than an amendment?
and that we, in addition to accepting it, that we also, how to word it, we also ask the person to provide us, in this letter it says, would have to provide us with a copy of their public liability insurance risk assessment for the job, and a method statement. Can we agree that as well?
Yeah, but that was that.
Yeah, they'd have to do that as a matter.
Documentation and insurance and things.
Right, number 9, authorise sealing documents.
Have we...
Right, all those in favour of that, please. No, number 9, no sealing of documents.
Can Michael email to Miles what he wants then?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll tell him what's happened anyway.
Yeah.
To discuss no resolutions, there aren't anything for 10. To receive an update regarding the archaeological dig.
Can I come and ask the question again?
Yeah, go on, go on. Start with that. Yeah, go on.
Right, the question of, well, first of all, I'm not against an archaeological dig, as I said last time. I quite enjoy that type of thing, and I intend, if they do it, and when they do it, to go down and have a look. I'll ask the question again is, what are they digging a hole for, to look for, and whereabouts are they doing it?
We've got the details that they've not been made public.
Right, so if you've got the details and not being made public, well, this is the problem. We have the Stoneswood Advisory Group that reports back to nobody and doesn't allow members of the public in. In effect, it's a secret meeting. If we've got, this is the second time I've asked the question, what are they digging for and where are they digging? And twice I haven't got an answer. And now you tell me you've got paperwork. So why is that paperwork not going around councillors?
Do you want us to have 400 or 500 people tramping over this possible site? Because that's what will happen.
What's that got to do with the question I've asked? What's that got to do with the question I've asked?
The question is, if you want to know, you can...
No, the thing I'm pointing out now is, why haven't we been told? We've been kept in the dark.
I've just said that it will stop people tramping over the...
No, hang on again. That's a bit of an odd argument as well, is I'm quite sure if we're having an archaeological dig somewhere in the woods, which in effect is public land, well, why can't the public come and look at it? Why can't we have 10,000 people there watching it? There's nothing secret what we're doing.
We'll be tramping over the site before it's...
Well, people tramp over the site every single day.
Well, that's how it is.
So anyway, can somebody forward me then, the answer to my question is, where are we proposing to dig, and what are we proposing to dig for? Is it just a test ditch to see if there's anything there, or is it in a specific location for a specific reason?
I'm sure you can give him that. It's like secret squirrel club. Is that the motion then? Pardon?
I didn't say anything. I didn't make a proposal.
It's an exciting thing, wouldn't it be nice to know it? You know, they're going to do a dig. I think it's really exciting. We can't know.
You have to propose, Lester, you want paperwork?
No, I don't need to have a proposal to get the paperwork. If the client's got the paperwork, he can just forward with me. I haven't made any proposal at all. But is it not just to receive an update?
Okay. You'll get that information.
Right. Was the thing to receive an update? Was the agenda item to receive an update?
Regarding the archaeological dig.
So the item is to receive an update. Councillor Burton turned and said and received it, which is in effect a proposal. So now we need a seconder, then we need to vote on it, then we can move on.
Right. Stand very second, Matt. Right. All those in favour? Right. The local council's update. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. To discuss public path claims. Where is that?
Can't go no paperwork about it. It's a little secret thing you don't know. If it's in the pack, which page is it, please? C. C10.1 is the archaeology. Can we have a couple of minutes? We'll just have a quick read.
Actually to do with a member of the office, Mr. Sadler, I think has been working on this for the last couple of years. I think we've been getting communication from him out to get the way identified. And Richard Petter was the rights away office who was working trying to do that. I think that the clerk said there's only a bit in Anston, but it's still a bit that's in Anston. I think lots of Anston people use it. Yeah, they do use that area. Dinnington Town Council supported that. I think if I remember correctly there. That's if I'm wrong, but I think they did go along with that in try the register. But there are a lot of people. You can see when you're on Lakeland Drive at the bottom near the airway shop. You can see where people use that area for public rights. So it's really get them registered. I'm not sure about the legality of that.
Can I just ask a question? Is there a time limit on this?
Sorry?
Is there a time limit on this?
I think it's 2024 something.
All right, right. Good.
But apparently it's looking like that's going to be extended.
Can I suggest, because I mean, it doesn't look like any other council has seen this, can I suggest that we defer this to the next meeting, the next council meeting? So, I mean, because I've not seen the document, I know which path you refer to, but I'd like to look into it a bit more, because I'm in favour of all footpaths being kept. So, could I suggest that we move it on to the next meeting so we can discuss it properly?
All I'd say is, well, if anyone wants to have a quick walk and look at the paths in person, if they give me a shout, I'm more than happy to go up and look.
Somebody's wanting in here, speaking in an answer meeting.
Right. Number 11.
I asked him a question which we're allowed to do.
Nothing under
Could you just sorry John, if I go on, could you forward that to us, Michael?
Yeah, that's right. Nothing under 11. Number 12. To discuss matters notified by clerk. Councillor Baker, shall we leave this until he comes next time?
Yeah. Right. I spoke to him tonight. He asked to send his apologies. I think he's having to babysit quite at short notice. Basically, if you just get to his letter, he's wrote a letter into the council. Let me just find it for you.
Have you had any further communications from Lafarge? He says.
Right, this relates to the quarries down at bottom of Lindick Dale. We agreed as a council, I think, to bring the people, or Lafarge's agent, which I believe is Savills, to ask them and invite them to come to a meeting so we can discuss the quarry issues in more depth. I think, I can't find the paper.
Yeah, it is.
He's asking for if we can have an environmental inspection. I can't remember the wording when I can't. Have you got it there, Lucas?
I know we resolved to invite them to a further meeting, but I feel it may be productive to ask them to bring specific information before we consider their further offer. I would like the issues of the bridge, the access track and the access rights to Bransfield Quarry clarified. In addition to this, I think we should ask them at their expense to carry out a phase 1 habitat survey using a suitably qualified ecologist. This information is essential to enable the PC to establish what our liabilities would be in the event that we take on the responsibilities. So he wants us to.
Right. Can I make a proposal? I'd like to propose that we write back to either Savills or Lafarge, whichever's appropriate, and we ask them. If they could clarify the issues of the bridge access track and access rights to the Brancliffe Quarry. And then can we also ask them the second part, in addition to this, I think we should ask them at their expense
to carry out a phase 1 habit survey using a suitably qualified ecologist.
Is there a second for that?
I want to ask a question.
Oh, right, that's a question.
Yes, when you're talking about the second bit,
and asking for a suitably qualified, does that mean that you did say at their expense, didn't you?
Their expense.
You did. Yes. Sorry, because I was thinking, does that involve us getting quotes
that's
and things like
expense.
that? You know, because those sorts of things can be often quite expensive. So.
Just to clarify, the thinking behind getting a survey is one of the quarries is actually a triple SI site, and obviously that will have implications if we were to take that on. It did come up in conversation about all the birch trees. I think it was silver birch trees that are in the quarry, and there was mention that some form of survey had been done, and there was possibility funding from English Nature or whatever they call themselves now. And the idea about asking for the survey first is, if we ask them to produce a survey at no cost to us, we will then have a full 100% idea of what we're actually taking on. Because it's quite possible there could be all sorts of things there we don't know about. And that's the reasoning behind it.
Are you bringing a proposal? I've got a second for that.
Yeah.
Send Councillor Baker's email to Samuels and find out when the next meeting will be.
Well, basically ask them if they will clarify the position of the transport agency and the survey.
Yeah. It's all in the email.
So we need to contact them to find out when the next meeting to answer the other questions.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Councillor Thornton to all those in favour? Yeah. Councillor Thornton to discuss the audit recommendations.
Right. I brought this up at the last finance meeting. Right. If my memory serves me right, I haven't got the paperwork with me, which is not very good. In April, I think it was, we had an audit which we get on a regular basis. Now that audit picked up that there was several monies owed to us by various groups that hadn't paid the bills. We won't go into reasons why or when. One of the recommendations, or probably the only recommendation from the audit committee, they recommended that we put things in place to prevent it happening again. Well, so far, to date, we haven't carried out that recommendation. So, I'm saying to the council is, we need to come up with some form of format to prevent large sums accumulating that are owed to us.
Well, we have put them in, but first of all, we asked for a deposit. First. Are you on about football fields?
I'm on about, well, I'm not going specifically, I'm on about, what they're saying to us as a council is we need to put measures in place to prevent large sums of money being owed to us in the future. Now that makes common sense.
The only money that we collect from the council is for allotments.
All right, right. So what I'm going to propose, and it's open for discussion. It's only when somebody might have a better idea. My proposal is this: is that we propose that the clerk comes to us as a council or as a charity, but we'll discuss that in the charity if we have to, at regular intervals, and I'm looking towards the clerk for advice on 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, and the clerk reports to council how much is owed and what the reasons are. In that way, I think what happens is the council's then fully aware what's going on, and then the council's in a position to make a decision what we do about that particular item. But also, it gives the clerk clearance in the sense that the clerk has brought it to the attention to the council and hands responsibility from the clerk to the council. So that's the proposal. But I'm looking at Michael now. Would you, if that's a good idea, would you suggest 3 months, 6 months? If you're happy to do it monthly, that's probably even better.
Can I just read out the room? Can I just bring me up to date with what's been said? Because I've got an item on, I don't know which finance meeting it was, how many months in, about forming an audit committee, because I went to a South Yorkshire branch meeting of the YLCA in November, and what they did suggest there was about having an audit committee set up in councils for various reasons, but one of them was to go through the sort of systems that were in place, and also I think, and this is no aspersions on anybody, there have been quite a few instances of fraud, and I think it was a national suggestion that parishes and town councils set up an audit committee to actually look at things like that, and as I say, it's on a finance meeting somewhere but I've got more information on that, so if you want to discuss that, whether that ties in with what you're saying.
What I'm proposing is that
I thought the council, the regulators will to how many zones and the reasons, and the regulators will do.
Right, so that, well, we can still have a look at that other one, because that was to set something else in place, but no, I agree with that. I think it's
you second that?
Yes, I second that, yeah. I think it's beneficial from everybody's point of view.
All those in favour, please show.
Yes, I think so.
Councillor Thornton, to discuss correct protocol regarding points of order.
Right. The reason I put this on, and is to discuss the correct protocol regarding points of order. Around this table, there are lots of people that stand on points of order. Now, everybody around the table, if they think they have a point of order, they're allowed to stand up. That's not a problem. The reason I've asked for the correct protocol, I'm looking at you, Chair, because you've got the rules in front of you. Right, is on occasions I've stood up on a point of order, several occasions, and other councillors or councillor has also stood on points of order. Now, when I've stood on a point of order, I have continually been talked over. I've been told to sit down by yourself, and when I've stood on a point of order, other councillors have stood up and they've been allowed to be heard first. So, I'm asking you, Chair, now is, can you tell us what the correct protocol is regarding points of order?
A councillor may rise to make a point of order or a personal explanation. A member rising for this purpose shall be heard forthwith. A personal explanation shall be confined to some material part of a former speech by him which may have been misunderstood. A councillor raising a point of order shall identify the standing order which he considers has been breached or specify the irregularity in the meeting he is concerned by.
Right. So what that rule says then is, if a member, any member, stands on a point of order, they have to be heard forthwith. Can you tell me what your interpretation is of that?
Well, first of all,
I'm not trying to catch you out. I just want to know what your interpretation is.
My interpretation of it is this: that when you stand and you say a point of order, I then say to you, "What is your point of order?" And
right.
I expect you to give me the rule that's been breached.
Right. Well, the way I interpret it is, when a member stands, he should be heard forthwith.
Yes, that's right.
Well, what that means is, when a member stands, and it's anybody, is when a member stands, everybody else has to be quiet.
That's right.
That's not been happening in the past. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to go into massive discussion. We know what we're talking about. You've just read the rules out. So what I would like to see in future, please, Chair, is that rule is applied correctly.
Yeah, okay. Well, if somebody stands up, if two people stand up, the first one who acknowledges what the rule is that's been broken, it will be the one that's heard first. But you can't say a point of order, I don't agree with him. That's not a point of order. Exactly. You've got to say point of order, he's breached item number 39 or item number 46.
I totally agree with what you just said. But the point I'm making is, on several occasions, and I'm not going to start getting into this, he did, I did, that did. On several occasions, I stand on a point of order. Other members have stood up without saying it's a point of order, just to turn around and shout me down. And they've been allowed to speak, and that's incorrect. So now we've got it sussed, it shouldn't be a problem in the future.
Okay, sure. Have you got a proposal?
I have no proposal.
We just apply the rules.
Well, there's no need, I don't think there's a need for proposal. I think we're agreed that the rules should be in future done correctly.
Councillor Thornton, to discuss grant applications for the Lichgate.
Right. Lichgate at Southampton.
Yeah.
I can't remember how long ago it was, because it's that long ago, it must be coming up to 18 months, 2 years. We had a survey done of the Lichgate
because it was the condition was deteriorating. And that survey was quite an intensive survey, and it showed that we needed lots of work doing to the Lichgate. This is just the Lichgate, not outside it, but that needs looking at as well. I started the process 18 months ago, deliberately, in order to try and get the repairs to the Lichgate done before last year's Remembrance Service. What's happened to the grant? There was a grant application supposed to be put in, and it's just seemed to have gone dead, gone by the wayside, and we don't seem to have done anything all at it. So can we have an update on what's happening with the grant?
Well, as far as I know, what happened was, Jan Reader that worked for us before, the new senior administrator, was pursuing this, but unfortunately she left. Would it be last year? Yeah, wasn't it? And Mrs. Morley is still intending to get around to looking at this. I've said to her, when she gets everything sorted out, because everybody knows Marion's finished, she's trying to sort a lot of other work out, that we start and have a look at this again. And the idea is that we get either other groups that are interested, such as St James's Church and other organisations in the village, to try and get this grant put forward. We've got the survey, we've got the prices, or costs should I say. They need updating, but we need to get this application into the War Memorials Trust to get money from them. It's there till 2018, when the World War I celebration, well not celebration, that's the wrong word, commemorations finish, and money is available until then. So we need to get a meeting with the Darcy's an architect that did the costings and the survey, and get an application to War Memorial Trust. I really don't think there should be a problem getting some money. It's a question of whether we can get the entire amount that we need. So it's something that we've got to try and kick-start again, because it's sat for quite a long time. As I say, we've had a change of staff, which has not helped. And I think Mrs. Reader had quite a lot of information on it that's on her file, and it just wants to get underway. So if anybody, as I say, is interested in trying to get that started again, I'd be pleased to hear from them.
Okay. Can I just say that I started this, and it was before I got took off the committees, because I was going to follow it through, and it was put on a financial committee all the time, so I couldn't speak on it. But to Clive's due, every time it did come up, he's banged on about this month after month. Can I ask, what is the problem with putting a grant in to try and get funding? There has to be a problem with it, because it's taking so long. But how long does it take to fill a form in? It doesn't take 2 years to fill a form in. Granted, there's lots of things that probably take priority over it, but we would expect after 2 years we should have had something on paper by now.
Yeah, unfortunately we lost 2 staff, and one of the staff, most of the stuff that she did is retained in the brain.
But when staff go, staff take over. If staff go, there's other staff there to take over the projects that they were doing.
The staff that went to it didn't record things, and it's kept in the brain. Therefore, it's starting.
So again, you're telling me something new now. This is because the staffing committee minutes don't come in front of us. So that's secret service. Right, can I ask, through the chair, that we ask the clerk to see if we can start progressing this again?
Yeah.
I mean, it is quite a big project. We're not guaranteed to get the grant money. We may have to go elsewhere. But ideally, this project needs to be finished by 2018. Because if we can get the repairs to the Lichgate done properly, we can then probably have some form of ceremony again to commemorate the end of the war.
Yeah. So we started that. The idea was it was to be rededicated again by the Bishop of Sheffield or whatever if we got it done, and it would be a proper celebration for the village at the end of the day. Councillor O'Brien.
Have we ever considered asking the public to subscribe to this? Because I think the public have answered.
That's how the money was raised in the first place.
Yeah, we had it, me and Clive, and I think the clerk and Councillor Bridges were there that day. We had some discussion. We could ask the public, we could probably get them involved, and we may well have to do something along them lines if we put in for the grant. But it's if I remember rightly, the figure was bordering for like £28,000. So it's a massive amount of some money to raise. I'm not sure, but I think the original public subscription by members of the public, I think they put money in, and you're talking now the 1920s when there was no money about. they put money in as a village, but I think the vast majority of the money came from Miss Wright from Anston Hall. It's an idea we can look at.
So we'll look at that.
We just need to kickstart it, really.
Or Clive
might just contribute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind, as I say,
So we're,
speaking to Siobhan and trying to get something.
so we do that, and then what about is discuss cleaning of Lichgate nameplates?
Can I? Are we finished with that item? Can I?
Yeah, because now we'll move on to.
Can I? Well, I'm going to say, can I make a suggestion? It's 9:25. I've got two items that I'm quite happy to defer, and I don't know about Councillor Thornton with the nameplates and Councillor Stonebridge, seeing as Councillor Stonebridge is not here. But I would like to try and get Mr Pearson's question in, because it ties in with Councillor Thornton's last question about Rackford Meadows, and if we don't extend the meeting we won't get that in. Public will lose the question.
The next one is to discuss the cleaning of the Lichgate nameplates. I'm going to ask the question now, I'm looking at the clerk through the chair. Last year sometime, I can't remember when it was, June, July time, I think we passed a resolution with the £2,000 we had standing in reserves that was allocated for cleaning the nameplates. Did the nameplates get cleaned?
The nameplates didn't get cleaned because there was conflicting advice from specialists as to whether A, they could be cleaned up or not. One memorial company said that it was just totally destroyed and we were the idea. So guys, I think we were going to go back to Andrew Shepherd.
Right.
In the time of the Lichgate meeting, because he's the expert.
Right. I know, I'll try to be quick. This Andrew Shepherd, is he running a business now, or is he on his own, or what's his position? Well, what I'm saying is he a person we can go back for advice to get that one sorted? Right. Right, I'll email you later, Michael, thanks.
I withdraw the item to discuss the attendance of Councillor Stonebridge because he's not here.
Right.
I don't think he'll ever be here.
I'll withdraw my items, and if we want to go on to that last one, which is about
Mr Bernie on Rackford Meadows.
Mr Pearson raised earlier on.
Can I just come in on this one, John? I'll read my letter out now.
You want me to read the email out?
Yeah, I'm going to read the email out,
Yeah,
so you know what my position is on this. We'll have a discussion.
Any burning should stop. There was a thing. I am to you. Just bear with me. There was a thing about the burning or proposed burning up in Rackford Meadows, and I wrote, any burning should stop immediately. The issue should be put before full council for discussion. The parish council did not spend hundreds of thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money to turn Rackford Meadow into a waste tip burning site. This land was purchased in order that it would help protect Anston Stones Wood. You cannot have an environmental argument to protect land then destroy it by leaving large patches of burning upon it. The land at Elliott's Field is already ruined by burning and dumping of waste, and I'll go on to say, why buy fields under the pretence of protecting them, then proceed to desecrate them? I personally don't think we should be burning any rubbish in that field.
I don't know who's responsible, I'm just saying I don't think we should be burning in there.
The staff were working under my advice that we should go up there and put materials that was food elsewhere and burn it up there. As we received this email, no burning is actually taking place. We put that on hold, but the stuff that was proven and taken up there is actually still up there. Not wanting to encroach on whether we should be doing it from a moral perspective or not. From a legal perspective, we do have an agricultural exemption licence which allows us to take material, transfer material, and so long as it's not compostable, stored for more than 12 months, it's not a waste site, and all the things that Mr Pearson has mentioned do not come into effect. So there, from a legal point of view, there is no problem, and I checked with the Environment Agency and everything's fine, and it's fine, and we are registered, but the question, morally, whether we should burn it there is obviously a discussion.
Right, just come out of that, right. As I stated, I don't think we should be burning in Rackford Meadows. However, I am appreciative of the fact that we have waste material and we have to dispose of it somehow. Again, I was the one that complained about the burning down by the allotments. So maybe that's now caused a problem where we have items that need burning and we've nowhere to burn them. It's something as a council we're going to have to think. And again, I'm looking again at the client just for proof. If we take that off site to a contract, we will have to pay for that.
Yes, I mean, at the moment, the problem is that we, as a parish council, can't take the materials apart farming because of the current ongoing situation between Park Farming and Williams and Southampton. So that's been a stop or a no-no for many years. The only other alternative is to pay a contractor to take it off-site and dump it on our behalf wherever they choose to dump it.
Would it be possible to possibly look at getting some form of quotes for that? Just as we'll bring it back to a later date if council wants to discuss it, how we dispose of certain types of waste materials. If we have an idea how much it's going to cost to contract it out, then we can have informed discussion.
Can I just add a bit on this, John?
We're going to have to suspend.
Well, can I just think, I made a suggestion at a staffing committee meeting last week that we maybe look at, there's an area on the allotment site at Northampton which is obviously in our ownership that I think the allotment holders are wanting to put a building on or something like a shed in or something like that, but it's quite a large area. There is permission for burning on the allotment given to the allotment holders as long as they observe the sort of like politeness and rules and don't burn when the wind's in a certain direction. And it's a big enough area, I'm sure, to actually cater for what we do. I might be wrong, but is it a possible solution that we could use that since it's our land? I don't think it's going to harm any of the allotments. It solves the problem of Rackford Meadows. I mean, I don't know whether that's a viable option or not. I'd take, if somebody's got an opinion on that. It's just the fact that we actually own it, and it wouldn't, if it's done properly, it wouldn't cause a problem to anyone.
I think it's appalling that it's happening up at Rackford Meadows.
That's not happened yet.
No, but it was going to.
Right, can I have the proposal to continue suspend standing orders for 10 minutes? Or no? Have we proposed it? Well, get quotes for disposal of this material and bring it back to another meeting. Is there anybody propose that we...
Mr. Chairman, extend it 15 minutes.
Everybody propose...
You propose that we extend the meeting for 10 minutes.
And a seconder? Right. Okay. All those in favour of extending? All those again? Okay. I'm afraid.
You've got cast and vote.
I've said the meeting's finished.
No.
How can we just